Hello everyone. In this video, I want to walk you through the agenda you will be using for this week. It'll look similar to what you see on my screen. I will be posting this on our class story, so it's accessible for you and you can go back to it whenever you'd like. So this one is titled March 30th, 2020. And these are the assignments that are going to be turned in by the student at the end of the day. So if you notice here, there are two links. One is to classroommagazines.scholastics.com. The second one is iExcel. So these are going to be the two websites that are going to be accessed for today. No other websites will need to be accessed. Here you will cover your ELA, your math, your social studies, and your science. And I'm going to go ahead and walk you through each screen so you're familiar with it and you know how to access it. At the end of the lesson, you will take a picture such as this one here. This is my ELA, this is my math, this is my social studies, and this is my science. It is possible that students will use more than 2 sheets of paper. That is perfectly fine. Please make sure they're writing on one side. So when you capture the photo, you can just lay them out together and take one shot and upload it to Dojo. I will show you how to upload it on the following video. Let's go ahead and access this link. So this is going to take you to week 1. And you'll notice what's been assigned is day 1. So this is what I showed you earlier. Your ELA will come from this link. Your math will come from this link. Your social studies will come from this link. And your science will come from this link. Okay, so it's very interesting. I think the kids will have a lot of fun using this. Let me go ahead and show you the ELA section. What's interesting about this is that in every section, there is an audio portion that's text to speech. So the student can either read it on their own, which is the preferred method, or they can click on this text to speech icon and it'll start reading it for you. Okay, so this one's called Nothing Can Stop Her. And after you read everything and watch the embedded videos, you will reach a section that says Continue the Learning Journey. There are 2 questions in your ELA. One requires you to watch a video, What's Good, Jordan Reeves, below, and it is right here on the bottom of the lesson. And it says, I want you to write 5 to 10 interview questions. Be sure to include questions about Jordan's activism. That will also be explained in the video. The second question is, think Jordan's 3D printer arm is awesome. We do too. And it's asking you to design something that you would print in 3D in your notebook. So you can go ahead and design it and you can title it whatever it is. Obviously, I would like for you to tell me what it is, just so I have a better idea of what you're designing. So that is the end of your ELA. You would go back to the home screen and you can click on Listen for your math section. The math section is also a real world presentation, so it gives you some facts or some stories. It's very interesting. So this one's called Wells in the City. Again, this has text to speech. And you can lower it here. This is 900. Most of my students are around the 500 range, so make sure you go ahead and select that if you would like it to read to you. So same thing, you read the section and it says drawing fraction. Oh, where did it go? Drawing fraction line plots. It gives you an example of what the student will be doing. I'm going to go ahead and let it finish loading so I can show that to you. Here it is. So it shows the student an example of a line plot using fractions and a line graph, okay? Because they will have to duplicate this in the homework helper below. So they will have to answer this question. They will have to make their own graph using this data here. They can go ahead and visit this section for an idea of how to do it. Here is another question, 2B, 3, 4A, 4B, and 5. And that will be the end of the math portion. Okay, there's also a game here if they'd like to play. It's not a requirement, but they can go ahead and do that. We're going to go back to the home screen. and visit the travel section. This is the social studies. And this one is going to be about climate. And there's going to be several stories and several locations. At the end of this lesson, there will also be 2 questions. One of them is going to require them to remember the descriptions of the locations that were talked about. Let me go ahead and scroll down to show you. It's also called Continue the Learning Journey. And the first question is going to ask you to plan for how you will share your memories and your friends. But before that, it asks you to list the items you will need to bring to each place, what you want to see while you're there, questions you can ask people who live there, and a plan for how you will share all of your travel memories. They can probably list about a sentence each after their list of items, depending on the places that they are talking about. Lastly, they're going to draw their own map of their favorite place. This could be a park. This could be their house. This could be a Disneyland. It could be anything. Let them go ahead and sketch out a map and title it with the place that they chose. And that is the end of social studies. Lastly, we have science. Day 1 science lesson talks about sloths, which we found out earlier in the year that a big handful of my students love sloths. So this should be really fun for them to do. So here is the story, Hanging Tough. And again, it has text to speech. And as the student is scrolling down, they'll see that sloth sporting events. They'll go ahead and have a fun read with that and everything that sloths did in this particular event. So towards the end of it, you will see, it's got to finish loading. Here we go. So at the end of the page, there will be 2 questions. Under Continue Learning, continue the learning journey. And you're going to watch a video, Hanging with Sloths. What interesting thing did you notice? It's right here on the bottom. And what questions do you have about what you saw? So that would be about 2 sentences as well. And here you're going to plan and write a comic about a sloth participating in a sloth Ironman games. So this is where you saw my beginning, middle, and end. So they're going to do a mini comic strip. And they're going to say what your sloth is thinking, seeing, and feeling during the sloth Ironman games. So they're going to give the sloth a personality and write a couple sentences on that. So I'm going to go ahead and revert back to the Word doc so I can show you where everything goes, because this is the last lesson. And again, this is where you saw the science I just talked about, beginning, middle, and end. Okay, the social studies was the list of items and the map of whatever their favorite place is. I drew a mini park. And here's the homework. Again, question 1, question 2 that asks for a graph. Question 3 that asks for a number line. Okay, and lastly, here's the English or ELA. Here are the questions. Here is what I would print, and I printed a pencil holder. Okay, with a quick description. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, this should be fun for the students, and I hope they enjoy it. After spring break, we will finalize what apps we would like the students to use. So if you have any more questions, give me a call, send me a message. I will see you soon.